Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today we are going to take a look at GameObject in Unity, which is a key element of Unity. What is a GameObject? A GameObject is comprised of different components. If you don't know what a component is, please check out my last video where we go about it in detail. Right now, continuing with the GameObject, a few example of GameObjects would be a player, a car, a gun. These are some of the common game objects you would have seen in the games that you typically play. And the game object is made up of some common components such as a transform, renderer, collider, rigid body. We already covered transform in the last video. In this video we are going to take a look at renderer, collider and rigid body, 3D and 2D depending on the kind of game that you are making. So let's go to Unity and create a cube. If you look at the right under inspector, you will see a lot of components: transform, mesh renderer, collider, and you can add rigid body as well. Let's start with renderer. A renderer allows you to view the art. For example, in this game object you can see the cube. If you turn it off, the game object still exists, you just can't see it. Next we have a box collider, which demarcates the position of this cube, not the position but rather the boundaries of this cube in the game world, so that if it bumps into something else, we know that two objects have collided. We will look at an example in a second that will make this concept much more clearer. Moving on, there is a rigid body. Now what rigid body does is add physics or gravity to our game object, and therefore elements like gravity, air drag will apply to it. Now let's take an example. Right now there is no rigid body here, so if I click on play, nothing will happen. The cube basically stays in its place. Now while I'm in the play mode, I will add a rigid body and gravity pulled it down. So basically, if you want a game object to be under the influence of gravity, drag, air drag, you add a rigid body. Now let's understand the concept of collision or box collider. In order to do that, let's create another cube and let's stack them one on top of each other. Cube 1, let's move the cube 1 down and the first cube up. Let's go back to simulation. If I click on play, both of these cubes will fall down. No surprises there. Alright, now what we are going to do is from the bottom cube we are going to remove the physics or gravity so that it remains stationary, and we will have the top cube fall on top of it so that they get stacked up. Let's take a look. See, there's no gravity at the bottom, so but they did collide with each other. Both of them had collision. Now what happens if I take the bottom one and remove the box collider? Can you make a guess? If you guess that the top box will just fall through, you're right. There's nothing here demarcating this space. It's just an empty art at this moment. There's no rigid body, there's no collider, therefore the top box just fell through. Alright, so this was a short video. I hope this helped you understand the concept of game object, particularly renderer, collider and rigid body. In the next video we are going to take a look at how to instantiate or spawn objects. See you in next video.